right now is consumer power. And this morning, my very special guest is Michael Diamond, the Vice President of the National Consumers League and an attorney at law. He's also Commissioner with the Caricom Review Commission. Good morning, Mr. Diamond.
Good morning, Sir Darby. How are you?
Not bad. Is this the Diamond that I'm supposed to have not only a connection with him, but his father?
Absolutely.
And I must let my listeners know that both my father and himself were involved in the consumer movement many years ago. Right? That's the uptake of where many persons just believe that we just come up like this. No, we've been doing this for a very long time. Now, this morning I want to look at something which I know is not a major challenge, but still going to look at it nonetheless. And of course, if you want to mention other concerns that consumers are having at this time, we can probably look at that. But specifically, I want to take a look at shopping online. And I want to say to my listeners that if they have any concerns or challenges shopping online, then definitely send me a text to 816-5261, or you can call the program while I'm having this talk with Michael Diamond. All right, yes, my brother. Have you come across the Consumers League? Have you come across any reports about the challenges that persons face while shopping online?
Yes, most definitely. There are challenges, and it's just like a physical store where you'll get something that is advertised, and once you order it and you receive the item,
yes,
it is totally different than what was advertised to you. So there are significant challenges with shopping online, and basically, oftentimes the consumers would mention that there isn't a clear avenue for remedy or redress because there's not a physical store they can attend to, and it seems as if they're operating somewhat outside the reach of the law. So the challenge is that it's not something that they can just readily address.
And especially if you're purchasing something from overseas, the Consumers Affairs Commission, as far as I know, would not have any jurisdiction in over a foreign entity.
Yes, that poses a challenge in itself. But what we do at the National Consumers League is do advise consumers that once you do shop online, oftentimes the vendor or merchant that you're shopping with is located within the United States, and
yes,
they have specific rules and regulations that they must adhere to, even though they're dealing with a consumer in Jamaica. So even though our protection agency may not necessarily have jurisdiction to compel certain performances, you can reach out to the Federal Trade Commission, which do regulate those merchants and vendors online that you're using.
And I assume that you will be able to make reports to various organizations in the United States, because they also have a consumer organization in the United States, and you have Consumer International also.
You do have Consumers International. You do have the International Consumer Protection Network that also receives information from consumers to basically help to inform the other protection agencies of a particular trend or any type of concerns that a particular consumer is having. But nonetheless, ordering online poses a tremendous challenge when the consumer fails to read and really go through the terms and conditions of the particular purchase or dealing with that particular vendor. Because oftentimes the stipulations requiring what would happen in the event of, failure to deliver on time or the possibility that a refund situation, occurs, what to expect from the particular vendor. So we do advise consumers that they have to take the first position of being very vigilant.
And many of us don't. Another concern I would have is using your credit card. You should be. I wouldn't purchase from companies that are not well known, because you might be giving your credit card information to a company, they store that information, and next thing you know, they use it for something else that you are not aware of.
Yes, that can happen. And now that we're in the cyber age, where most things are now online, is that oftentimes consumers are subject of fraud. And these frauds occur where, just as you have stolen identity, they do have these stolen websites where they look, the feel, the appearance of it is very similar to ones you might have used before, or very well-known websites, but they're actually fake. And what they're doing is that they're phishing and collecting your information, credit card information.
Yes,
which
yes.
So it's important to if there's anything that seems a bit odd or off, especially the language, wherever there's some grammatical errors on a website, those are usually red flags.
Yes,
that,
yes,
you should
yes.
look a little deeper
Yes.
to know that it's just a legitimate site, because oftentimes what happens is these fraudsters don't speak very good English, and they use translators, and as you know, some languages cannot be translated properly in English.
Right,
So
exactly.
these are red flags, and the best thing to do is not to follow through with the transaction.
And it's also best to check with other persons, I believe, who have bought things online and find out from them which companies they are dealing with. You check, for example, how popular companies you go into Google, for example, and you find out as much information you can about these companies. You don't just go on like that, and just purchase from a company that you've never heard of before.
Exactly, and sometimes it can be very enticing where something is advertised to you at a very attractive
Price.
Price and discount. These are these are red flags, and you are going to be constant target of frauds and these type of scams. So it's very important that the consumer take that first initiative and investigate, because prevention is better than cure. And while we're here to protect you, oftentimes your protection is your first defense. You are responsible for that, and social media plays a role in this as well. So when you're shopping online, they're collecting information, pooling data about you that can later be used by fraudsters. So we have to be very mindful of how we go on, how we protect it as our browser, how often we use a shipping company. That's important as well.
Yes,
many
yes.
people in Jamaica use third-party shippers that we're also giving information to. So we have to be very important how we protect our wallet.
And the next thing, another thing I think we have to look out for is any hidden costs, because it is possible for them to tell you, oh, we have this, we're selling you this. But the next thing you know, you have certain transportation costs, you have other costs, and also oftentimes we don't take into consideration the fact that when that product comes to Jamaica, you have to pay duty on the items purchased.
Yes, that's the full disclosure.
Right. No,
with the totality of the cost involved.
Yes.
Whenever an item is shipped to Jamaica, there are certain stipulations for items based upon the weight of that item, or even what the type, the nature of the item itself. So that is important to ask again. What are the custom duties on this particular item that you're ordering? Because what you're ordering from the vendor online may not necessarily be the same response with custom duties here in Jamaica. So
exactly.
It's very important, that we get that information before we complete the transaction.
Now, I think we only have 2 minutes left. I'd like to point out to you and to hear from you. And that is the expiry date that you see put on some products. Oftentimes, these expiry dates are put on by the trader and not the manufacturing company. You see, for example, I see bread, for example, that is imported from the United States, and I have a problem with these things that are imported and they're not sealed. I would never, ever purchase these things. And a supermarket might just, for example, paste on the expiry date. If you go to the supermarkets, you see where they just paste on an expiry date. I don't trust that at all. I don't know if you have seen that.
Well, I haven't came across that, but expiration dates are very important.
Yes.
And oftentimes, again, the law requires that the manufacturer do put an expiration date, even though, and this is not basically to excuse it, but expiration dates won't necessarily mean that item is no longer usable on that date. But nonetheless, by law, it cannot remain on the shelf to be sold to consumer to be consumed in that sense. So it's important that we do check our expiration dates, especially for items that are very perishable,
exactly,
and also that can cause significant health.
Well, I must tell you, frankly, Michael, I don't trust it at all. Generally, I must tell you, I don't trust purchasing things from any supermarket or any shop as such where the things are not sealed. You go there, they pour the flour into a bag, they tie it up. No, son, I don't know how it goes inside here. No, man. And you have, for example, body wash and so on. It's open. Suppose somebody gets smart one day and just get some drugs and squirt it inside, and I go and use it. What happened to me? Eh? And I've seen persons buy bread and they open the bread, I'll touch it and hold it up,
You have to you have to be careful. If it's not sealed, take a second guess.
Yes.
Second guess at receiving an item because, hey, listen, your safety is your protection. It might be very attractive, but if that item is unsealed, you have no idea how many hands or what tampering could have occurred.
I have an idea. Holy hands. I have to go now, though, Michael. I want to thank you very much, and please pass on my best wishes to your father. All right.
And thank you for having me.
Okay, all the best. That's Michael Diamond, Vice President of the National Consumers League and an attorney at law. He's also a commissioner with the Caricom Review Commission. You're listening to At Your Service here on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media. I'm your friend Vernon Darby. I gotta go for the break right now. And when I come back, it will be open house. And of course, we will have our friends here from the Transport Authority. And I'm sure you want to hear from them. And you probably want to call. Of course, we will be taking your calls then. Stay with us and come back. Don't move.